extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am your host of Truth to Power here on 1017 The Truth, and we're live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the 3rd Street Market Hall in the Avenue. Shout out to my boy DJ Brother Z holding it down on the ones and the twos. Shout out to you, Truth Nation, as well, because I already know y'all already in the YouTube. 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That's 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure y'all give it a like and a thumbs up. And make sure y'all subscribe to The Truth on YouTube so you never miss any of your favorite Truth shows. Hello, what up, what up? Not really a city girl, what's happening? JD the Poet, good afternoon to you as well, fam. Ma the Elephant, what's happening to you? Appreciate all y'all inside of the YouTube chat. But then also, you always know you can call or text in at 833-212-1017. So on Truth to Power, I like to make sure that we're up to date on all the biggest stories and headlines of the day, because I think it's imperative, it's important that we know what's happening. And, you know, I missed some stuff. Like, I never got to the debacle that happened with the Signal group chat where our unqualified, I don't call him a Nepo, but unqualified defense secretary was participating in a group chat that was not on a safe line talking about war plans, and people tried to play it down as if it wasn't a big deal. As I was just part of a group chat that has some people in it that they probably didn't want to have fully in it, but I just think about the fact that was a pretty big deal. I never really got on that, but we already know what the end result is that no, the government is weird, right? We got some idiots in the government. And so now yesterday, and on my show, I talked about this aspect. It happened after my show. And too bad I didn't see Trump's tweet or whatever it is on Truth Social about bye, bye, bye yesterday, like the NSYNC style, where the stock market popped. It went up yesterday, right? Because Trump had made the decision that he was going to put a 90-day pause on the tariffs for most countries that he put the tariffs on, right? And the stock market just jumped. It popped, right? And people were just like, yeah, look at that, right? Like, oh, yeah, our stocks are back, baby. And I don't really get into conspiracy theories. And right now there's conspiracies or people who are trying to connect the dots. Even United States House of people who are from the United States House of Representatives are trying to connect the dots and say, oh, people made money off of this and they're insider trading, which it could be insider trading. I don't understand how elected politicians even have access to be able to trade stocks, because based off the inside information they get, they know what's coming. They absolutely know what's coming. That's literally like somebody working for the NBA, right? And understanding you work for the NBA front office and you know what's happening, what rules are coming down, and you're able to bet on those rules, right? It's illegal. It's illegal to do that. Like I'm sometimes privy to some information that I can't share, not too much, not very often, but, you know, off the record type stuff that you can't share. And I mean, it's just unfair, right? And a lot of these politicians, because they do make policies and they make laws and they have their ear to the ground and they're well connected, they know what's coming. It's insider trading. A lot of these, and this is on both sides. This ain't just one side, but this is on absolutely both sides. There's like an app or something you can do where you can follow Nancy Pelosi, who used to be the former Speaker of the House. You can see what she or her husband are trading on stocks, right? They're Democrats trading on stocks. And they do pretty dang well, but they have an inside. But I don't understand why they're able to do that. But yesterday, again, we saw the stock market pop. And Donald Trump paused. He put a 90-day pause on tariffs, right? And a lot of people celebrated that as, you know, you should celebrate the fact that there is a pause on tariffs because of the fact that we need to understand that these tariffs, as we said before, and as Kamala Harris talked about before when she was running for president, but people didn't want to listen, and as I have talked about and many others have talked about, Sherwin Hughes has talked about that as well, but many people have talked about what the on the previous show with DT and Telly, they used to talk about tariffs. You know, I think I filled in one time and I talked about tariffs on that show. It's important that people understand what tariffs are and how there can be a negative impact from these tariffs. And a lot of us aren't going to get in the weeds because it's too hard to get into the weeds, but we know that tariffs can cause for prices to go up. And so yesterday, a lot of people celebrated the fact that Trump put a 90-day pause on the tariffs, as we should celebrate. People say, oh, art of the deal. Look at him, little wheeler and dealer. Look at that. But I want us to understand that that was not a strategic plan from Donald Trump. That was not the plan at all. He was not looking to actually try to put a pause on the tariffs. Donald Trump said last week this was a liberation day, and he was really going to stand behind that, right? He really was trying to defy the fact that, listen, this pain and this suffering may be going on right now, Truth Nation and United States of America, but this will be good for you in the end. He wanted to stand on business, and he wanted to keep these tariffs on because he wanted to send a message. I'm telling you, the guy wanted to be extremely defiant, Truth Nation, but what I saw when I did some more research is that this administration has no idea what they're doing, and the decision that they made yesterday wasn't because they felt like they were just, playing in all part of their master plan. No, Truth Nation. Fox News has a clip, and yes, the Fox News that we know has a conservative lean. There is a clip that I'm going to play from Fox News with someone telling you exactly why we actually saw the pause yesterday on the 90-day pause on tariffs. It wasn't because Donald Trump was planning to do this. It's because Donald Trump saw a bigger thing happening that could have caused for our economy to truly tank, which could not be reversible. See, tariffs are reversible. You can put a tariff on, take a tariff off. You can make people panic. But there is a certain aspect of our economy that you can measure and you can see. If this starts going down or people start selling these, then that means that your economy is less stable. Tune in, go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube, and listen to this thought here from someone from Fox News.
I want to tell you right now that Donald Trump outsmarted the world. Trust me, I'm an American. I support my president. But that's not really what happened here, from what I understand. And I know I'll get pushback, but here's what it is. First off, we should point out that one of the good things about this is that Scott Bessent is finally in the White House. He's finally leading this. I mean, up until a couple of days ago, it was Lutnick, it was Peter Navarro, the Commerce Secretary, the trade advisor, very much hawks. Now it's Scott Bessent, who believes in cutting deals as opposed to, just just putting these tariffs out there and let's be a mercantilistic economy. That's number one. But number two, let's recall what happened overnight. And from what I understand, and I'm getting this from people that are talking to the White House, what happened in the bond market overnight, the spike in yields on the 30-year and the 10-year bond, which showed that people were dumping our bonds. And who were those people dumping our bonds? Japan, the biggest holder of bonds, was selling bonds. That's what I'm getting from some very big money managers. China, maybe to some extent, but it was largely Japan and others. If you have a mass sale of bonds, that means people are losing confidence in the U.S. economy, on the ability to do deals with us. And from what I understand, this is what forced the hand of this 90-day reprieve. Now, is it a good thing? Are people coming to the table? Yeah. But if you read between the lines, or not even what Scott Bessent said, we have no deals. Right? There's nobody that is really there saying this is what we're going to do. And they paused it anyway. So my thing said, well, I'll give you this. There is some art of the deal here. And by the way, brilliant move by putting China in the corner. But that's a whole separate thing. Because remember, that's a very difficult negotiation. Everybody else is a lot easier. They do want to deal with us. Whether they want to be, forced into really bad trade deals on their end is a whole other negotiating story. But make no mistake about it, you cannot divorce this decision right here from what happened last night, which was, people focus on the stock market all the time. It's the bond market and the sort of lending markets that's the plumbing of the economy. And those markets, and that's
that really helps and determines the economy. And what he was saying, and that was a gentleman from Fox News who said in that he supports Donald Trump, Truth Nation. He said it, I support Donald Trump and I want our country to be great. But understand, if China, if Japan, if other countries start not believing in us fiscally and financially and don't believe our economy is stable, we are in trouble. See, because bond sell-offs carry a direct implication that hurt everyday people, right? It can drive up interest rates for loans that we get, that many Americans depend on loans, whether or not you're talking about loans to buy a car, whether or not you're talking about loans to buy a home, whether or not you're talking about a loan to, take out against your home, an equity loan, or whether or not you're talking about a personal loan that you need, that drives up cost. And so when countries decide to sell off all those bonds because they don't have the confidence in your country, that is an alarming thing that we saw. So, again, I wanted to bring this up because I understand it's a lot, right? But I thought it was important that people understand what is happening. This is why you see the market today, it rebounded, it dropped out. We're going to see this, right? We're going to see all of this. But we need to be paying attention to the things that really could impact us longevity-wise. And that bond sell-off was something that sent alarms through the White House yesterday, which forced Donald Trump to put the 90-day pause on the tariffs. They did not have an original plan to put that 90-day pause on yet. Scott Walker, the former governor of Wisconsin, and Ron Johnson were both talking about how they expect for things to kind of be like this until, September, right? So they had an expectation because they were told what the game plan was. But they had to switch up the game plan. Our economy is on the brink of falling apart. That is what we're seeing. But 833-212-1017. On the other side, when we come back here on Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh, we're going to talk about something that I saw today where I said, you know what? I may not have liked Jill Underly as a candidate, but I'm sure dang happy I supported Jill Underly. And I tell you why, because she is standing up to the Trump administration and she is standing up for black children. And I'll tell you exactly how she's standing up for black children on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh. Make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube, 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. 833-212-1017. You can call in or you can text in. But on the other side, I'm going to tell y'all why Jill Underly is standing up for black kids, and we should all applaud this.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
You don't want to be there. You don't like the work. You don't like the people. Now, there are some differences. The only difference is modern American slavery and capitalism versus 19th century. We were dramatically more primitive back then. And a slave that is able to buy their freedom is the same as the disaffected, disgruntled worker that is able to buy their way into entrepreneurship, because that for them is freedom.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
This is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent, as an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axehousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
Finding stable housing shouldn't be a struggle. The Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center connects renters, property owners, and partners to the resources they need, whether it's rental assistance, legal aid, mediation, or tenant education. No matter what your situation is, you do not have to go at it alone. Get assistance today by visiting renthelpmke.org. That is renthelpmke.org, or stop by their office at 728 North James Lovell Street in Milwaukee. At the Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center, they are here for all your housing needs.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Back to my sticks, back to my house, back to my shot. Rolling around, yeah, I'm on two.
The new Day One 414 Adidas are dropping this Saturday for 414 Day, and we want to hop on the wave. Adidas is releasing limited edition suede sneakers in blue, yellow, red, and gray, and they're bringing the heat just in time for the celebration. Join Jammin' with Juice live on site as Benjamin and Carrie Noni broadcast from Clicks in Shorewood by Shake, owned by Shake. They'll be there Saturday, April 12th from 1 p to 3 p, giving away pairs of their exclusive Adidas to lucky people who come through. Don't miss your chance to win. Come out to Clicks in Shorewood this Saturday from 1 p to 3 p and catch Jammin' with Juice live on 1017 The Truth. Of course, that is after our Truth Community Cleanup this Saturday. Yes. After the cleanup on Saturday. Yeah, it's funny. DJ Brother Z said something in my ear. So I used to write a lot of live reads. As y'all know, I'm now the director of community relations, and I have this show here in addition to doing some other stuff around here as well. And so I don't write as many live reads. And it's funny when the rabbit got the gun, right? That's what they say. Everybody got something to say when Kyle was writing these live reads, but then when y'all give it a chance, it's choppy. I was about 80%, 75%, 70%. That's a C minus, C plus, depending on what school you go to. But 833-212-1017, that is the Truth Talk to text line. And so on the other side, I alluded to the fact that Jill Underly, who is the state superintendent for Wisconsin, I allude to the fact that I'm glad I voted for Jill Underly because she may not be the best overall, state superintendent. And there's some work to be done. She isn't terrible. There's some work that definitely needs to be done. But when I see some of the things that she said recently, y'all, it made me proud that I voted for her. And y'all, we've talked about this conversation about diversity, equity, inclusion a lot. And I'm going to talk about this because when I see things that are relevant to us, I feel like I have to point it out. Because what I read in the Journal Sentinel today, again, made me proud for the fact that I actually voted for her. And I think about that because sometimes when I go to vote, I don't always vote for everybody. I made a rule where if you're running unopposed, I don't vote for you unless I actually know who you are. Right? If you run unopposed and you run for one of these judges and I don't know, I'm not voting for you because I never forget when I remember having a conversation with my mom when Sheriff Clark was running against some random guy to be the Milwaukee County Sheriff. This is probably in 2010, maybe 2008. I don't know. Man, I feel like I was had to be after 2008, so maybe 2010. And I remember I having a conversation with my mom, and I said to myself, all right, Mama, who you voting for? She said, well, and y'all know how Sheriff David Clark was. Sheriff David Clark, now he loved to put on the hat. He loved to, be black sometimes. And then he was always black, but, act a certain way. Far right, not even far right. He just put on a show, put on an act. And he used to talk crazy. And my mom said, I think I'm going to vote for David Clark. I said, I think I'm going to give him one more time again. And I did that. It must have been 2014. And then I did that. I voted for him. Then all of a sudden he was gallivanting and trying to get close with Donald Trump. And I said, never again. If I don't feel comfortable about either candidate, I'm just not going to vote. I'm going to do what Tory Lowe do. I'm going to write my own dang name, and I'm the new sheriff in town. And so, but I did end up voting for Jill Underly this time around. Now, the reason why I praise Jill Underly is because what we have seen since the Trump administration got in, we have seen the United States Department of Education in a lot of different places attack diversity, equity, inclusion. And on April 3rd, the United States Department of Education gave state K-12 agencies, including Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, a 10-day deadline to sign a document that certifies that they are in compliance with their anti-discrimination obligations and policies that were set by the Trump administration. See, because the Trump administration argued that DEI practices give advantages to one race over others, thus break the federal civil rights discrimination law. And so what they were trying to say is anything that you have that elevates students of color, specifically, they didn't say black, but basically anything that doesn't allow for white students to have the same opportunity as black students for anything and everything, they wanted eliminated. Anything that had a special room for people of color or people who identify as something else, they wanted to eliminate anything of that sense. And the reason why I give a big ups to our state superintendent, Jill Underly, is because Jill Underly was elected all of a week ago. Last week, Jill Underly was elected. And already Jill Underly is using her power as an elected official to stand up to the Trump administration. Jill Underly and her administration and general counsel have not signed off on that certification paperwork. And they said because it's unauthorized, unlawful, and unconstitutional. The fact that we have somebody in DPI, remember, we had the Brittany Kinzer versus Jill Underly, and I told y'all, the reason I could not vote for for Brittany Kinzer wasn't because I didn't think she was a wonderful woman. It was because she was supported by Republicans who supported Donald Trump. And with that support, it's not just them throwing money and say, go help these kids. No, it's them throwing money and say, go help them kids, but also do what we tell you to do. And as we know, Truth Nation, is that a lot of times when that money comes in and they say, do what we tell you to do, it doesn't uplift or support our kids. So that is why when I see Jill Underly doing something like this, right, and standing up to the Trump administration and saying that they are not going to abide by things that they believe or stand with things that they believe threaten the schools with unnecessary and potentially unlawful mandates based off political beliefs, that is out of the mouth of Jill Underly. She said, it is our responsibility to ensure Wisconsin students receive the best education possible, and that means allowing schools to make local decisions based on what they believe is best for their kids and their communities. And again, it's always so interesting to me when we're talking about this diversity, equity, inclusion conversation. And we're going to keep talking about this because I got some more information I want to share. But when we had these conversations about DEI and we talk about rights, it's just interesting that they come in and they attack DEI and they want to force the government to have a say in what happens in these local schools on the state level. But when we talk about the Second Amendment and we talk about, not taking guns away from people, but making it so you just can't show up to a gun show in some states and buy a gun there, making people have a more extensive background check, making people have a longer waiting period to keep guns out of the hands of kids who want to shoot up schools, to keep guns out of the hands of people who are angry and mad at their wife or mad at their husband, so they go and get a gun and you know what happens after that, to keep guns out of the hands of irresponsible individuals that don't know how to lock them up and secure them safely and then they get them stolen from their vehicles, to keep guns out of hands of criminals. They say, no, don't touch our guns. But when we're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and we're talking about the fact that this is not our fault, this is what I want them to understand. DEI is only in place because your ancestors, your auntie, your cousin, your mama, your daddy, and maybe even you made a decision to not include African Americans and people of color in certain things. Somebody before you, or maybe you, made a decision not to sell the house to the black person, made a decision to go and appraise a house that had black pictures in it for $300,000, and then they swap out the black pictures, and all of a sudden it's appraised for $450,000. See, that's not our fault that y'all made these racist decisions, or you have this unconscious bias. That's not on us. But to put such an emphasis on trying to destroy things that help make African Americans whole, help make, Hispanics whole, help make people whole, but then ignore the fact that people get shot down in streets with illegal guns or legal guns is crazy to me. And that's what leads me to my whole point of this, is that I always talk about this because it bothers me so much, is that when we talk about DEI under attack, we always need to make sure that we're talking about who's truly under attack, because this is another great example of when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, they are not talking about taking anything from white women. They are not talking about taking anything from white men. What they're talking about is not forcing white children to have to feel bad about the history of this country where white people are 100% the villain. And so that's why when I talk about DEI and I look at what they're doing with education, because I'm telling you this right now, everything that they talk about with DPI and they're talking about education, they're talking about on a national level, they're talking about pulling back on anything that can impact and help African Americans. And so what I want to know is what rights of straight white women are under attack right now, nationally. Don't worry, I'll wait. I got time. I got a whole 30 plus minutes left in the show. I want to know if white women feel under attack as a straight white woman, what initiative has come down from the Trump administration in almost his first 100 days that have been a direct attack on straight white women and straight white men. That's all I want to know. Because every time I look up in the news, and again, I'm going to talk about it on the other side. They even unscrub Harriet Tubman now. But every time I look up in the news, I see something challenging African Americans having access to something. It's challenging the validity of us earning something. It's challenging the fact that we have to have these rules in place because those before us, and when I say, and maybe even some of those now, we're not playing by the rules and we're not moving with fairness. And so when I talk about this DEI, I I just want y'all to understand on a national level, the people under attack are people of color. As I was doing my research today, there was something that was released from the White House that said, I quote, they want to prohibit any exhibits or programs that degrade shared American values, that divide Americans based on race, or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with federal law. And this was in conjunction with them attacking the museum, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which the director, who is named Kevin Young, was placed on indefinite administrative leave. And why I find all this interesting about how they're attacking culture, right? Because when I think about culture and I think about history and I think about the fact that, you know, African Americans had to deal with so much negativity in our lives now and before, and now they're trying to erase some of this history to lessen how people feel, the impact people feel. And again, we're going to talk about Harriet Tubman because I got to talk about that. But I think about the monuments of the Confederate soldiers who fought against America. That's what that was. And I think about the fact that these Confederate soldiers have monuments and generals have monuments across this country or had monuments across this country. And when they tried to scrub that history like they tried to scrub Jackie Robinson, or like how they tried to scrub the Tuskegee Airmen, or like they attempted to scrub and they did scrub Harriet Tubman, they thought that was okay. But when we back in 2020, 2021, 2022 wanted to remove Confederate monuments, they said we're trying to erase history. Why is it okay to erase black history and black culture, but then when we try to erase Confederate monuments, people are up in arms and mad about that? Harriet Tubman was not a traitor. She was a freedom fighter. Jackie Robinson was not a traitor whatsoever. He served in the military and he broke barriers here in America. The Tuskegee Airmen, despite the fact they lived in a country that discriminated against them, still put their lives on the line to fight for the freedom for everybody in this country. But for some reason, we were okay with removing them and then saying, whoops, my bad. But then when people wanted to remove generals and names off of bridges, people wanted to say we're eliminating history. So I'm just trying to understand where the disconnect here is, Truth Nation. 833-212-1017. I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox right now. When we come back on the other side, I got Tony from Tulsa. I see your texts. I see your calls. I see your messages. We're going to get to it. But on the other side, we're going to take the calls. We're going to read some messages. But then we're also going to talk about the fact that Harriet Tubman, a freedom seeker, a freedom fighter, a woman who sacrificed her life, was scrubbed from a historical page of the National Park Services during Black History Month. And nobody knew until recently. 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Walls. We'll have more conversation on the other side.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
April Brewers action rounds out with the matchup against the Tigers and Athletics. Catch the series opener April 14th as the first 10,000 fans get a Brewers t-shirt designed by Unfinished Legacy. Then get Brewers collectibles at back-to-back games against the Athletics. First up, Peanuts Night on April 18th, featuring a Franklin Bobble with special tickets. And don't miss a Brewers football jersey for the first 25,000 fans April 19th. Get set for an action-packed April at Brewers.com.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Victory Garden Initiative is an 1.5 acre urban farm that sits right in the middle of the Black community on Richards and Concordia. I don't know if you know that Harambe is a food desert. So within its borders, there are no major grocery stores. So people rely on things like dollar store, corner stores, liquor stores to buy food, which is all unhealthy. Everything we grow, and we grow everything, tomatoes to potatoes to carrots to corn to onions to and so on. And everything we grow is free to the community. It started in 2009. They wanted to build a sustainable food production system that was healthy and sustainable. And what that meant was giving people the resources to grow their own food and the skills to make sure that those attempts were successful.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/the reason to get started.
This is Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth, powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snide. Milwaukee Brewers getting win number 3 in a row on Wednesday night, thanks in large part to Jackson Chourio, who had 5 runs batted in, including this 3-run home run.
Is a high fly ball, deep left field. Jackson Chourio goes deep at Coors. Chourio's 4th home run of the season. It is a 3-run blast. And the Brewers have broke it open in Denver.
Brewers throttling the Rockies in Denver there. 17-2 the final score. With that win, they improved to 7-5 on their season. And lastly, heading over to the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks will look for win number 6 in a row tonight as they get set to host the New Orleans Pelicans down here in downtown Milwaukee. That tip-off is set for 7 p.m. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Like a runaway slave. Like a runaway slave.
Truth Nation, our 4th annual Torilo Community Cleanup is this Saturday, April 12th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and we want you to be there. Go to truthcommunitycleanup.com to sign up to volunteer to help keep Milwaukee clean. We have over 200 people signed up. I grabbed some of the pickers today. Thank you so much to West Care here in Milwaukee. And shout out to Travis Landry as well at West Care. Really appreciate you all's effort and assistance in helping us clean Milwaukee. But everyone who registers for our last cleanup site will get a free lunch provided by Cousin Subs. Register today at truthcommunitycleanup.com to clean and beautify our city together. The Torilo Community Cleanup on this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. is presented by 1MKE. We are 1MKE, and sponsored by Cousin Subs, U.S. Cellular, Landmark Credit Union, Ray's Coca-Cola, and Waste Management, all playing a significant role in what we are doing here on Saturday. This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I'm Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to Power. You can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe as well. But we're having a conversation talking about the fact that Jill Underly stepped up and did the right thing and decided to stand up to the Trump administration. Now, understand when I talk about DEI and when she does this, is that the school district that actually has the most to lose is Milwaukee Public Schools. And the reason why we should be concerned about that, because that is a black district, a district that is mostly black students. And it will be interesting to see how the district that has mostly black students that should have programs that are geared towards uplifting black students, like the Black and Latino Male Achievement Group that they have, that takes black and Latino students to, different universities and different businesses across Wisconsin and even, out of the state, to be able to get some type of exposure, or the black student unions that some of these schools do have, or the different organizations and groups that allow for African Americans to identify with their black heritage. So it'll be interesting to see some of the things that MPS has implemented, because we all know DJ Brother Z went to MPS. That at your school, I'm sure there was some clubs or some type of scholarships or something that was geared towards assisting black students. So
what?
Yeah. If you did not know,
I guess BSU.
Yeah, you had that, but then also there's different scholarships and different things like that. Heck, the Lawton Grant, I got the Lawton Grant, which was geared towards students of color, and that was in college. So
ain't nobody tell me that.
I'm sorry, I was gone by the time.
Bound, we're gonna have to have a talk.
I was gone by the time after your first year. But my whole point is this: is that it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with our DPI versus the United States Department of Instruction. But 833-212-1017. Tony from Tulsa, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Yo, what's happening?
Nothing, man. Just chilling, enjoying life.
All right, I hear that. So I want to start the conversation, right? You asked a question about is there a program that actually directly is attacked towards white women?
Yeah.
And
you know
also, I'm glad you. I'm glad you brought up Harriet Tubman too, and because I want to address that as well as the Jill Underling thing. So one, DEI that directly affects white women. They're the greatest beneficiary of DEI.
Tony, I don't mean to interrupt you. We've established that that's what people say, and they do benefit from it. But my question was, what have we seen from the Trump administration when we talk about this tearing apart of DEI? What have we seen from the Trump administration that has been a direct attack on straight white women?
That's a direct attack on straight white women.
So what? Okay. So what have you seen? What law? Let me just ask, what executive order or what action have you seen that is a direct attack on white women that you have seen from the Trump administration?
The conversation about DEI.
No. Tony, you too smart for this. I'm asking you to give me facts because I just gave you different facts about the fact that
is a fact.
No, okay, but can you give me an example?
I just gave you the example.
Give me because I gave you an example of the attack on DEI and how that's impacting students across how it's impacting the fact that we've seen things stripped from websites of African Americans as well, and we see that there's potential when it comes to scholarship funding for different schools, and how the Trump administration said they want to be able to make these applications blind, so you cannot and not even have essays, because in the essays the students can write about their upbringing, which can allow for people to actually potentially know the background of the student. So the Trump administration is also trying to say that they don't even want to have essays. So tell me again, if you can get them. I just gave you some examples. Can you give me an example of something that has been directly towards that's going to negatively impact white women? Give me an example. I just gave you a couple. Provide me with an example.
I don't understand how I can provide it more. If you Google who is the greatest beneficiary.
Tony, you playing on my phone right now. You playing on my damn phone right now. This is what happens when you talk in circles. So I'm gonna put you back on, Tony. But provide me. Okay, Tony playing games. Listen, y'all heard it. This is a great example. I was able to provide him with examples, and he told me to Google what it means. This is what happens when you have black people that support Donald Trump, and instead of calling Donald Trump on the malarkey that negatively impacts our people, instead what he wants to do is he wants to say, Google what DEI is. Negro, I told you what DEI is. I told you what they say it is. They say it positively impacts white women. But the thing about it is this, is that when we talk about what's happening on a national stage, I'm waiting to see a white woman be the face of the attacks that we see with DEI. That's what I am waiting for. I'm waiting to see a straight white woman be the face of the attacks. I'm waiting to see the scholarship program that's going to negatively impact straight white women from being able to potentially go to college. I'm waiting for straight white women to go into offices at universities across this campus, because you have black students right up the street here at Marquette and at different universities across this country that are part of TRIO programs that are geared towards low-income students, particularly of color. So if you cannot give me an example, as I gave you an example, don't call back. Don't. Call me another day, because we're not playing this game. I ain't got that type of time to play around with you telling me to Google who benefits from it. I'm asking you to give me an example. 833-212. Now I'm hot. 833-212-1017. I guess we'll just continue this on. Winky Blue, what's happening, man? You got some examples for me?
Well, I'm going to throw some water on you and put your file.
I appreciate that, Winky Blue.
Guess what? Check this out. Contracts, construction contracts, drywall contracts. The white girls come in, and they grab these contracts out their hands. They're for minorities.
They sure do.
They grab all their contracts. Hold on, I'm giving you.
They grab these contracts. So can I ask you this? Are they losing these contracts?
Because they're minorities, and they out there playing the game.
Are they losing any contracts?
The game for real. They're using that minority, that affirmative action deal for real, man.
They sure are.
They're not playing. Our black women are not using it properly. Okay, so
I feel you, Winky.
Go ahead.
So can you answer me this question?
But I'll tell you the danger in that, though.
No, not the danger. I'm asking you. Okay, so yeah, you're right. White women, you're right. These white women are taking advantage of this, getting all these contracts because they're a minority. So when you see all this stuff happening on a national level, the language that we see from Trump, these executive orders, has there been an executive order that says they are not going to provide white women anymore, or they're not going to provide white women with these contracts anymore? Have you seen anything on an executive order signed by Donald Trump?
No. They can't do that.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I thought. Thank you. That's 0 for 2. I'm asking for examples. And all y'all telling me is that white women benefit from it. I know they do. My whole point is this. This is what y'all don't understand. White women benefit from DEI. They 100% do. They benefit from it. Black people benefit from it. Hispanic people benefit from it. They do. But when they're trying to utilize DEI as trying to say we want to get rid of DEI, then why haven't white women been negatively, straight white women, been negatively impacted like we have as African Americans? We have a whole laundry list of things that are impacting us. The dude who was in charge of the National Museum of African American History and Culture basically was forced to step down. He's out indefinitely. There's people who work for the museum who are concerned with an executive order that was signed at the end of March by Donald Trump that directly attacks them. Because the museum, and I got the quote here, the museum has been accused of having improper and divisive type of content that's anti-American inside of it. I haven't seen that for any other museum, but that is my whole point. Y'all keep telling me that they benefit from it. I understand that. But what I'm saying is this, is who currently, when they are cutting DEI, are on the losing end. White women aren't losing. We're losing. All right, here we go. Al from Sherman Park. Let's see what you got to say. We got the third one. How you doing, Al?
Hey, how you doing? So early on, Trump fired the Navy female officer over NATO because she was doing the woke women hiring. They're supposed to be stripping all of that preferencing for basis of sex and race, anything that attaches that to DEI out of federal contracts and hiring.
All right. Well, thank you. He fired the admiral of the NATO, U.S. official. I appreciate an example of a white woman being fired. Was he a straight white woman or no? Do you know?
You can look at her picture. Just Google Trump administration fired.
Oh, no, I see her name. U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield. The only woman on NATO's military committee was fired over the weekend by Donald Trump. Although no reason was given, it is apparently tied to comments she made that supported diversity in the force. I wonder what diversity in the force looks like.
Yeah, so women aren't getting promoted unless they can meet the physical demands. No more special rights for women in the military.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. So she was fired. So let's just look here. Chatfield was on a list of senior military officials targeted as woke by Conservative American Accountability Foundation, which sent a letter to Hegseth, Pete Hegseth, the United States Secretary of Defense, purging the woke from the military. Trump and Hegseth were vocal in insisting that so-called woke policies need to be dead and remove leaders who promoted diversity, equity, and inclusion and erase DEI programs and online content. So that is a woman who I'm curious to know. I'm going to have to look more into this one, but that is a white person that did lose their job for supporting woke things. And again, when we say woke, DJ Brother Z, when they say woke, does woke a lot of times be attributed to being woke with white women, or does stay woke have to something that's attributed to black people?
That's black.
Okay, just curious. I would say that's 0 for 2.5 there. I just don't get it. Lastly here, 833-212-1017. Al in Milwaukee. Let's just hear what you got to say.
Well, only thing I'm going to say, the Trump administration does not want no other group of people to outperform them. That's why they play dirty. Anything that deals with diversity go against me first, because for most white men and racist men, it's me first. But if they play the game fair, then they have to deal with diversity, which equals wisdom, diversity, and growth. But they know deep down in their heart they will be outperformed. Because if you are proud and you're not worried about taking a loss, you're going to give everybody an opportunity. But if you take away an opportunity, you have the chances of always trying to win. This is just a person who's afraid of losing. And that's what a lot of white men and white Trump supporters do. Al from Sherman Park should know that, because he know a lot of white men. And a lot of them don't want to play the game fair. Point blank, period.
No.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all chiming in and tuning in. And I guess my frustration is the fact that I ask a question and people want to sit here and point to, how white women have benefited. And I just want to be very, very clear. White women 100% have benefited from DEI, 100%. And as everybody said, they know how to play the game. I get it. But when I look at all the different faces, the people that are impacted, right? The black man from the military, the Joint Chiefs of Staff gentleman that was fired, African American. They all look like us. And when we think about diversity, equity, inclusion, I want to know why when we see a guy like Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of Defense, make a huge mistake by including a journalist in text message, and he didn't start the chain, but he responded in it, that, they talked about Hillary Clinton and the fact that she was using an email server that wasn't a secure email server. They used a dang app, the Signal app, and we're talking about military plans, about what they plan to do. And instead of saying that, he made a huge mistake, that man was extremely defiant and tried to say the journalist was lying. And the administration even came out and said it was true. That should be what we mad about. That's a hire we should be upset about. We shouldn't be upset because a black person get hired. And the thing that should pain us the most here, Truth Nation, is when we have these negative things about Harriet Tubman. Now maybe I'll play it on the other end. Who knows? But Harriet Tubman was scrubbed from a page for the National Park Services, and then when they put her stuff back there, they took off stuff that a lot of different things that had to do with race, and they took off stuff that had to do with slavery and moved it to 3 pages down, and they focused on the fact that bringing whites and blacks together. They removed her picture and put a stamp of other abolitionists, including herself, and they talked about white and black together. But it's interesting to me how these black men can call in and talk about how white women are benefiting, but are ignoring the fact that African Americans are being destroyed, being cut down, losing jobs. 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace. We'll have more on the other side.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
This is 1017 The Truth, Kyle Wallace, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Truth to Power is your platform, and on my show, our community always has a voice. There is no topic that is off limits, and I always give you my authentic opinions on how I feel, because keeping it real is the only way I know how to get down. Listen to Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, every day from noon to 1 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube at 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Join the City of Milwaukee for a chance to connect your business to potential contracting opportunities with the city and county government at the upcoming City of Milwaukee Vendor Fair. This event is a gateway to expand your business through workshops, networking, and access to staff regarding city contracting opportunities. The event takes place from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Thursday, April 24th at BMO Tower, 790 North Water Street, floors 2 and 11. Again, that's the City of Milwaukee Vendor Fair on Thursday, April 24th from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the BMO Tower in downtown Milwaukee. Come learn about the city's bid submittal process, small business certification, and contracting opportunities. Parking validation is available for this event at the BMO Tower. You don't want to miss this one. Save the date for April 24th at BMO. Sponsored by the City of Milwaukee Department of Administration, City of Milwaukee Purchasing Department, and the City of Milwaukee Department of City Development. For more information, you can visit milwaukee.gov/DOA events.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in, it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
1, 2, 3, ho!
The internet's talking about this one today. The National Park Service.
I got an article I want y'all to hear about Harriet Tubman really quickly. For everybody that says that DEI is hurting white women or white women benefit from it, I just want y'all to hear what happened to Harriet Tubman.
The internet's talking about this one today. The National Park Service has removed a reference to Harriet Tubman from a webpage about the Underground Railroad. So this webpage used to lead with both an image and quote from Tubman. But a comparison of the web pages between late January and mid-March shows those items have since been removed. Several references to enslaved people and the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 are also gone. The webpage now leads with commemorative stamps of various civil rights leaders, including the phrase black-white cooperation. This is part of a trend. Several government websites have recently been changed as the Trump administration enacts a campaign to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And when they want to eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion, let me be the first one to tell you, I've hung around a lot of white people. I do, and I think a lot of them are wonderful. But at the end of the day, when they think about diversity, when they think about inclusion, when they think about equity, but for specifically that diversity and inclusion part, they don't think about their wife. They don't think about their sister. They don't think about their mama. They don't think about their girl cousin. They think about us. They think about Hispanics. They think about Asians. They think about everything that is not them. So don't fall into the trap of when they say these things on a national stage and scale that they're attacking white women. Brothers and sisters, they are attacking us. Harriet Tubman been dead for over 100+ years. She was an abolitionist that fought for the freedom for slaves. 13 trips back and forth, risking her life to free black people. And they scrubbed her from the page. She went from being on a $20 bill to being scrubbed from a webpage. I'm telling y'all, it is we that are under attack. Me, you, and all of us. This has been Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm Kyle Walsh. The Tory Lowe shows up next. Peace out. See y'all tomorrow.
Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee. And now you can catch the Brewers on local TV for select Tuesday night games.
Curio sends it deep to left, and
it's Brew Crew Tuesdays. On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m.
Swing, he went. Another strikeout for Freddie Peralta.
This Brew Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. See the action on Fox 6 in Milwaukee and check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
It's a big week for Clicks Shoe Store, Milwaukee.
That's right. Clicks is dropping their latest 414-day shoe with Adidas this Saturday. But we'll be doing a special giveaway of these exclusive shoes this Friday, April 11th on Jammin' with Juice and the Tory Lowe Show.
Then on Saturday, April 12th, Truth Nation, Jammin' with Juice will be broadcasting live from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Clicks 414-day shoe launch party.
It's a Clicks big week, so make sure y'all tap in.
It's amazing.
The Alpha Phi Alpha, Delta Chi Lambda, 7 Jewels Foundation Incorporated has supported over 125 young men through the Young Gentlemen's Scholarship Botillion.
We're asking for your support to help continue this important work and empower the next generation of leaders. Through this program, young men receive mentorship, personal development, and scholarships to achieve their dreams.
We need your help to raise over $20,000 in scholarships, including a $5,000 grand prize.
Call 414-364-2835